Hello, this is Melody Ruling. I'm going to do my presentation. It's on Can Animals See Color? The first picture I have here is an actual image of rotted cone cells. The cones are the large, thicker cells, and the rods are the skinnier ones. And I'll explain the differences between the two. It depends on the animal if they can see color or not. Color vision in any species depends on several factors, including the number and type of specific cells in the retina called photoreceptors, the peak absorbance of light for a given photopigment within a photoreceptor, relative ambient lighting, and specialized cells in the visual area of the brain called color opponent cells. There are two types of retinal photoreceptors, rods and cones. The cones are responsible for color vision, detecting fine detail, and vision in bright light. The rods are used for vision in dim lighting. There are three types of cones, blue, green, and red, based on the wavelength of light in which the cone's photopigment has peak light absorption. And in humans, we have all three of these cones, so we can see a lot of colors. And at night, since we actually have a lot less rods than animals do, so we can't see colors at night very well, and we need light to see color. So kind of all makes sense. In our contemporary color book, it says that cats and dogs can't see colors, only shades of gray, but I'm finding different results on the websites I find. Dogs can pick out the color blue, but red, green, and yellow all appear similar. Cats can detect a fuller range of colors in blue, green, and yellow in the blue, green, and yellow spectrum. Dogs only have two types of cones at the back of their eyes, while humans have three types of cones that are packed at 10 times the density at the back of our retinas. Night vision in cats and dogs is a lot better than it is with humans because they have more rods at the back of their eyes than we do. Plus, they have a reflective layer called a tapetum that increases the light hitting their retinas, and it makes their eyes appear to glow in the dark. And it's also the same thing that makes them look evil when you take a picture of them. Cats whose vertical elliptical shaped pupils react much faster can see even better at night than dogs and humans can. And rabbits have limited color vision but can tell blue and green apart. Rabbits also have a higher ratio of rods than humans to help them see at night, but the clarity of color is much poorer. So a lot of these pets I'm looking at, they have a lot more rods than we do, but they can see a lot less color than we can. So that's the trade-off. So the human eye and the dog's eye have a lot of the same things. It's just the differences are in the rods and cones, which are in the back of the retina, which is in the back of the eye here. And on the bottom left here, I have pictures of parrots, and on the left is what us humans would see, but then on the right is what dogs and cats would most likely see. We can't really ask them what they can see, but basing it off of the rods and cones they have, they'd most likely see a less saturated color and more of a gray look to it. And then on the right here I have a color spectrum, and the human's view is just a big rainbow of colors, and then the dog's spectrum is this yellowish to blue color. I did some research on other common pets. I found out that birds can see UV light, which is really interesting to read about. Not all birds have this, but most of them can. Most of the ones that are active during the day. I don't think owls can see UV light, based on a couple things I read. So the birds active during the day have 4 kinds of cone cells, including the ones that specifically sensitive to UV wavelengths. And humans have 3, red, green, and blue. In birds, each cone cell contains a tiny drop of colored oil that human cells lack. The oil drop functions much like a filter on a camera lens, and the result is that birds not only see UV light, but they are much better than humans at detecting differences between 2 similar colors. And some birds have ultraviolet coloring on their feathers that is invisible to us. Another way they can, how should I put this? Like, for me, it's hard to tell which bird is a male and which is a female, but for birds, it's really easy because of the ultraviolet feathers that are on the heads of birds. They can just look at those and determine if it's a male or female. And they can also better judge, which bird is what, where I would have a hard time because a lot of birds look similar, so I wouldn't know the difference between some of them. But with that ultraviolet sight that they have, it's easier for them to see who's who. And then horses have 2 cone photoreceptors, a blue one and a second photoreceptor that is most sensitive to light and is roughly between that of a human red and green cone. So in a sense, horses are orange-blue colorblind, in that although they can see objects with these colors, they can't differentiate they can't see the difference between the 2 colors because they look grayish-white to the horse. This is just an image of what we would see versus what a bird sees. We would just see this white bird with yellow feathers, brown egg, nothing special. But in a bird's eye, it's really crazy what they can see. I mean, the browns to the red, and then the white just goes to blue and purple, and it's just kind of crazy how they see things. And then I have a video here that I'll show at the end. Here's a list of my sources. Now I will go to that video that I thought was interesting. This is a video on how birds and bees can see UV light, and they're showing examples with gardens and how they see flowers. And I thought it was pretty neat.
This garden looks very different.
So that's what we would see, and that's what they would see.
High-definition cameras can give us a bee's view of the garden, revealing the hidden patterns in flowers that are normally invisible to humans. Patterns that to us are completely invisible. Seen in ultraviolet, new markings appear on the flowers.
Isn't that just crazy how it changes like that?
The markings are caused by special compounds in the flowers called flavonoids. To the bees, they're like aircraft landing lights, guiding them straight into the nectar and pollen at the heart of the flower.
I won't play the whole video. I just thought it was a cool demonstration of how you can see the changes from a normal view to ultraviolet. And now this guy's gonna dissect a pig's eye, so I won't show that. That's not very pleasing to watch. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. So out of all the animals I researched, birds were the ones that had the greatest color seeing abilities. And then the worst was probably the horse or the rabbit. Yeah. So, that is all.